What's up, y'all? You know what time it is. It's about to be that time.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the latest episode of the Layup Line. The NBA is officially back. We have finally seen NBA regular season basketball games, and it's been great to have the NBA back. If you're an NBA fan like me, consider subscribing to this channel because I'll be posting at least twice a week. You can also find me on most social media for inside looks at upcoming videos and reactions to live games. But I wanted to talk about opening week by hitting on a few teams on my opening week power rankings. I am considering doing this as a weekly series or maybe every other week to update you on where your favorite team stands in the league. But with all that out the way, let's get into my first week reactions, and I wanted to talk about Golden State. Going into the season, I had a decent amount of confidence in this team to be competitive just off the strength of how prolific Stephen Curry is. Obviously, this is the worst team he's played on in over 5 years, and we've only seen 3 games without Draymond playing, as well in a season where Klay won't be playing at all, and they've been missing a ton of open shots. Kelly Oubre hasn't been able to make anything that wasn't a dunk, and defensively they've been challenged there as well. We've also learned that Marquise Chris will be on the injury list for the entire season, and with their only win in 3 games coming on a Damian Lee buzzer beater, there's some cause for concern. They do have 69 games left to play, but in the Western Conference, the difference between the bottom playoff teams and the late lottery teams will probably be a couple games. Golden State for sure is going to need Draymond Green to come fortify their defense. They still have time to make a push, and James Wiseman has definitely been one of the more impressive rookies this week, so they still have a chance here, but they need to start straightening things up soon. The next team I want to talk about is actually the Clippers. And I gotta be honest, I actually had to re-record this because on my first take, I did this on Sunday morning before the Clippers were blown out by 50, because there's no way I was gonna release this without mentioning it. And the craziest part is in my first version of this, I was really giving Paul George a lot of credit for being the best player to start their season and backing up some of his talk from the offseason. And then he came out and put up 4 of 13 in a franchise record loss. But outside of that, the Clippers really had a nice start to the season, knocking off the Lakers on ring night and beating the Nuggets after blowing a 3-1 lead to them in the playoffs. And that's probably the best start to the season Clippers fans could have imagined. But the 50-point loss was just really hilarious. I have to mention that Kawhi didn't play, but also Kawhi shouldn't be the difference between you getting blown out by 50 if you're going to be a title team. So that's a bad look. As far as the other side, the Staples Center, the Lakers have been looking strong. They did have a disappointing opening night, but an impressive win on Christmas and another blowout against the Wolves in a game that didn't feature Anthony Davis or Karl Anthony Towns. The Lakers will have a lot of offensive options this year, and I see that maintaining a top 3 offense. If they keep their guys healthy, defensively though, they are a step slower. They are a little smaller with Trez and Gasol in the front court now, but I still think that they're good enough to get stops, and they'll make it hard for you to keep up with them offensively. They're still my favorite to win it all this year. But the last team I want to talk about can certainly be a spoiler in this as well, because the Brooklyn Nets have looked really good, and I don't care that they lost that game to the Hornets because Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving have looked unreal. They're getting to their spots and they've been extremely efficient. There's also been some nice ball movement on the team. They have a 6th Man of the Year candidate with Karis LeVert now coming off their bench. They've really impressed me through a few games, and I know people want to worry about the potential chemistry issues with this team, but it kind of looks like they like each other, to be honest. There was this one play in the Hornets game where Kyrie forced a 24-second violation against PJ Washington with a held ball on his drive. And if you watch the Nets bench react, they get really hyped. They really hype Kyrie up for getting that stop. Now, defense will still be a question with this team, and it also seems that Kevin Durant won't be doing back-to-back games, at least for now. But teams are really going to struggle to keep up with them offensively. Another thing that was pointed out during the Hornets broadcast is actually that Steve Nash has been playing KD and Kyrie together at all times, which is interesting, and I think their lineup choices all year will be really fascinating to watch, especially matchup to matchup, depending on what type of style team they're up against. There's also the question of if they should trade for James Harden, which brings me right to Houston. Now, so far we've only seen one game from the Rockets. There's not a lot to react to from a one-game sample, but James Harden went absolutely insane in that first game back, dropped like 44 points and like 17 assists or something, and the Rockets could be potentially really good if they keep him. Christian Wood, I'm a big believer in him. I don't know why the Pistons let him go. I think he's a steal on that contract. He's really good. DeMarcus Cousins and a few others are out. John Wall hasn't even played for them yet as well because of a quarantine situation that they've got going on right now. And obviously there's a whole lot of drama with the team. But I think we're seeing some of what Steven Silas could bring to the table offensively. James Harden is going to get his buckets, but I like that Christian Wood has been scoring well, and I know there were a lot of people that had doubts, which is kind of why the Pistons decided to let him go, because there were some questions of, is his scoring real? It kind of came late at the end of the season. He was let go already by a few good teams, but I think he could prove a lot of people wrong this season, and I kind of would like to see James Harden play alongside him for a little bit as well, just to see how that pairing works out. But the last thing I did want to discuss as far as opening week is actually the viewing experience of watching games. Honestly, it's been a little weird in the empty arenas. I understand why it's happening, and I hope we all continue to be safe. But the bubble games for sure looked a lot cooler because of the big TV monitors there. Honestly, I think I noticed a lot more at the beginning of games and kind of the middle of games, and definitely, especially during these blowouts. But the empty arenas they're definitely not the same for me. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you prefer the big TV monitors that we got to see during the bubble, or do you kind of like the empty arenas? Is that your thing? Also, let me know what you think of the power rankings. What teams were too high, what teams were too low, and let me know if I should do this as a series. It was kind of hard to put teams in order, but obviously some teams had better weeks than others. So leave a like if you learned something new, or if you like what I do. Thank you for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.